Hello and welcome to today's video. Today I am looking at a pen from Scrivener. Scrivener is a pen brand based out of the UK, and their pens are made elsewhere. I have looked at a range of Scrivener pens in the past, so this is kind of like a top-up review based on a different model of the EDC pen that I have looked at. So I will link to the original review down below. The pens I reviewed in the past were the fine nibs. Today I have one that is the medium nib. The one we're looking at today is this. This is the brass EDC fountain pen, and it's stunning. Like, it's absolutely stunning. So I'm going to talk about the parts and features, do a little writing sample and all of that kind of stuff. Take it out of the nice box there, and this is the fountain pen version, obviously. You see it's a nice simple brass material. It's got sort of a brushed sort of look to it, slightly aged kind of color. Very simple pen. It's a smaller pen, it's a large pocket pen, just sort of a smaller full-size pen sort of size. On the top we get the logo in black, and then the cap is cylindrical. You get this lovely clip which is that Art Deco kind of detailing on it. The cap band has the Scrivener logo there, and then Scrivener on the back. The pen continues along. We get some posting threads, and then the finial there. The cap unscrews in 1.5 turns. It's very nice. And it screws to post, as I said, on the back there. It's a nice sort of simple sized pen, nice in the hand. So you get some threads there which are smooth, and then a small sort of flared section there, which is nice, and then a Schmidt number 5. This is the FH241 nib. As I said, I've done a full review of this pen this pen model in the past, and I'll link to that so you can get a bit more sort of information and details on a lot of this. The pen is a standard international cartridge converter pen, and it's got the converter in it there. It is a Schmidt K5 converter branded with Scrivener. It is good. It's a solid pen. All the parts, the Schmidt nib through to the Schmidt, converter, all work very nicely. It's a nice build quality, good quality material. As I said, lovely in the hand. I really enjoy the Scrivener EDC fountain pen, and this is no exception. This is a little heavier than the previous one. Here is the blue version that I looked at in the previous review. Striking color, amazing color material. This pen weighs 29 grams. The brass one here weighs 48, and it is quite noticeable in the hand. I find myself holding this one slightly further back, just so that the extra weight of that cap there still feels balanced in my hand. The robustness in the hand of this brass one is really something that is very, very nice to experience. Okay, for the size comparison today, I've got the Lamy Safari, standard Lamy Safari, and the Kaweco Sport, one of the sort of the standards of the pocket pen world. You can see alongside the Scrivener here, it is a smaller pen. It fits nicely sort of between those in terms of the size. Unposted, you see it's smaller than Safari there, and it is small, but one of the things I enjoy about the EDC model from Scrivener is the fact that if you wanted to do some quick writing, you could with the pen unposted. It's just big enough to use, whereas I find the Sport just a little too small to use in that sense. But these are not the way they're designed to be written with. The Scrivener EDC, as the Kaweco Sport, is designed to be written with posted, and you can see it comes to a healthy size, nowhere near as long as the Lamy Safari, which posts quite long, but a healthy size when it is posted. So what are the dimensions of the Scrivener EDC? Well, it's 120 millimeters when it is posted, so a larger size pocket pen or a small size standard pen. It is 117 when it is uncapped. So it is on the shorter side, but you can see it sits back onto the webbing, so you can, if you need to, use it to do, a short writing session, some note taking or whatever you desire. And posted, it comes in at 139. So on the shorter side, but very, very comfortable and easy to use. The section is 9mm, and as I said, this brass model is heavier than the standard aluminium version, and it is 48 grams, 30 in the body and 18 in the cap. So you are putting a considerable amount of the pen's weight on the back, but because it does post very deeply there, you still feel the balance is okay. And as I said, I tend to find myself holding it back on those threads, which are definitely not sharp, actually give a nice little bit of grip and a nice length away from the page, also from the nib tip with that number 5 nib, and that's a very comfortable, balanced size and feel for writing. Okay, let's do a writing sample now with the Scrivener EDC, and as I said, this is the brass. It says a number 5 Schmidt nib, and this is in medium. The ink in this today is a diamine, and it is Monaco Red. Now, I purposefully hadn't written with this pen for a handful of days because I wanted to see how it would write straight up in the review. And you can see the ink is a little more saturated. It took just half a letter to really sort of get going, but it wrote straight up to start with. I really appreciate that about these pens. Scrivener have done a really good job in engineering a pen that ticks a lot of boxes. Let's do this writing. I really like how this pen writes. There's a little bit of occasional like scratchiness on the nib, but it writes relatively smoothly, and I think actually sort of fairly wet, all things considered as well. It's a really nice pen. It's a simple pen. It's great for everyday writing. Reverse writing, not super possible. It's not a flex nib. You're not going to get a whole lot of line variation. It handles fast writing. I think it's very, very nice. As I said, this is the medium nib that comes on this pen. I think it's a fairly broad medium, and I'm just going to do a very quick writing sample here with the fine nib I have on the aluminium version of the pen. And you can see there is a definite noticeable difference. I think they both write very, very nicely. I enjoy both of these a lot. I think that the medium has a little bit more generosity to the nib, which I really appreciate. So it writes well. It wrote well after a bit of a time without being written with. So there's a good seal on it. I've never had any issues with hard starts, skipping, anything like that. So pretty decent nib there on the Scrivener EDC brass version here. So the brass version here of the EDC retails on the Scrivener website for $54.99 US. The other EDC versions coming in at around $51.99 US. So it's a couple of dollars more for this material, but I think I personally feel it is a substantial upgrade. I think the weight and the balance is really, really nice. I should say also you can get ink cartridges here for the Scrivener EDC, and it does come with a couple in the box, but you get here 20 ink cartridges in black or in blue, two different versions here, for $14.99 US. So that's actually a pretty reasonable price for 20 cartridges as well, and they come presented in the Scrivener box. So what are the pros and cons of the Scrivener EDC in particular this brass version? Well, the balance is one of the issues I had with the aluminium one. I felt that the section was just too light and the weight in the hand felt a bit off. I think that is improved with the weight of this pen. Yes, it is very heavy in comparison, but I think that actually gives it some nice balance of substantial feeling in the hand. There's still the same issues with the fact that this is a Chinese-made pen, but it is a unique pen to Scrivener, and it has a Schmidt nib and converter, so you're getting good German-made components. I think this is a well-made, well-designed pen at a pretty reasonable price. Things I really like are the size in the hand like this, and the weight. It feels good. I think it's at a pretty reasonable price point, particularly for, pens that write as well as this one does. And I think there's also a lot to be said about, with all the versions available, the different finishes and materials that you can get for this pen. So this is the Scrivina EDC in brass. I hope you found this slightly shorter review useful. As I said, you can check out the full review via the link below, and that was of the other versions of this pen. So this is sort of like an update with the specifics of this model. So thank you for watching. Like and subscribe, hit the notifications button, all that kind of stuff. A big thank you to Scrivina for sending this out. I really, really enjoyed this pen. So if you've got a way you'd like to support my channel, I would love to hear from you. So please drop me a message. In the meantime, enjoy your pens, enjoy writing, and I'll talk to you soon.